All right, so y'all, I'm going to show you how to do using Cramer's rule to solve a system of equations. I'm going to show you how to at least find the x value. Okay, so this is a problem similar to your class assignment number 2. Okay, so the first thing I want you to notice is, that my system needs to be in this format right here. Okay, where I have my x, y, and z terms all on one side and my numbers on the other. And so the first thing I notice is that these numbers here, y'all, need to move across. So the system I'm going to have is x plus y minus z equals -2. 2x minus y plus z equals -5. And x minus 2y plus 3z equals a +4. Okay. So this is the system that I'm looking at right here, okay? And I'm going to find two determinants. I'm going to find the determinant of d, and then I'm going to find one of dx, okay? I want you to notice the d determinant, y'all, is just the numbers in front of my x's and y's, okay? It's just going to be those numbers. So remember, that's a 1, that's a 1, that's a -1, that's a 2, that's a -1, and a +1. Okay, so let's see if we can do this. So I'm going to come back over here because I'm going to do this by hand. I'm going to show you how to do it by hand and with a calculator. So my d determinant is going to be 1, 1, and -1 as I go across. 1, 1, and -1. And let's see, 2, -1, and 1. 2, -1, and 1. And 1, -2, and 3. 1, -2, and 3. Okay, so let me fix that. There we go. Okay, so my process, y'all, when I'm doing this is I write down the first two columns down again. So I'm going to put a 1, a 2, a 1 right here, a 1, a -1, and a -2 right here. And the process in doing this, y'all, is I go along the main diagonal, okay? So the way we're going to find our matrix, I'm going to do this with brackets and parentheses and all this kind of stuff. I'm going to multiply. So 1 times -1 times 3, plus I'm now going to go along this diagonal. So I have a 1 times 1 times 1, okay? And then I'm going to go along this diagonal, which is a -1 times 2 times -2, okay? And then now, y'all, we're actually going to subtract, and we're going to start going diagonally the other way, okay? So this is going to be 1 times -1 times another -1, plus right here. So -2 times 1 right there, and then one more time right here. 3 times 2 times 1, okay? So now, we're going to go through really slowly. So 1 times -1 times 3 is a -3, plus 1 times 1 times 1 is 1, plus -1 times 2 times -2 is a +4, okay? Minus, let's see, this is going to give me a 1, this is going to give me a -2, and that's going to give me a 6, okay? So let's see, -3 plus 1 is -2, plus 4 is 2, okay? 1 minus 2 is -1, -1 plus 6 gives me a 5, I'm going to say. Yeah, so I have 2 minus 5, that leaves me with -3, okay? So there's my matrix D, okay? Came up with an answer of -3. Okay, now we're going to find another matrix. We're going to find another determinant, I should say. We're going to find a determinant dx, and I want to show you what dx looks like. So dx right here, I want you to notice, y'all, instead of the a numbers, we have these d numbers. Those are the numbers that were on the left side of my equal sign. So my first column is going to have these numbers right here. So look, let me come back here. Look at my column, -2, -5, and 4. Okay, so let's do this. -2, -5, and 4. Okay. Now, these numbers are the same numbers that I had over here. It's the numbers in front of the y's and the z's, right? Okay, which were the same numbers that I had right here. Okay, so let me just use those. So 1, -1, -1 and 1, -2 and 3. So let's come back this way. -1 and 1, right? 1 and -1 the first time. -1 and 1 the second time. There should be a +1, Omar, and a -1 right here. And a -1 and a 1, okay? And I'm just using those numbers right there, y'all, okay? So -2 and 3. Okay, just like we did before, my first step is I'm going to copy these two columns down again. So -2, -5 and 4, 1, -1, -2, okay? Again, we're going to go along the main diagonal. We're going to multiply these numbers here. Okay, so -2 times -1 times 3 plus, we're going to go along here, 1 times 1 times 4, okay, plus we're going to go along here, -1 times -5 times -2, okay, and then remember, y'all, we're going to subtract, and I'm going to start going diagonally, but this way. So 4 times -1 times another -1 plus, go along this way, -2 times 1 times -2 plus, I'm going to go along this way, 3 times -5 times 1. Okay? So now let's do this in pieces. -2 times 1 times 3 is a +6. Plus 1 times 1 times 4 is a +4. Plus -1 times -5 times -2 is a -10. Okay, and then we have to subtract, because we do have a minus. Let's see, that's going to give me a +4. That's also going to give me a +4. And this here is going to give me a -15. Okay. Oops. -15. Okay. So I want you to notice something, y'all. 6 plus 4 is going to give me 10, but 10 minus 10 is going to go to 0. So inside, I'm going to have a negative here. Let's see. 4 plus 4 is 8 minus 15. So that is a negative of a -7, which is a +7. Okay. Let me fix that. Looks a little bit messy. And let's come back here. So my answer is just a +7. Okay. So look, here's my dx, right? Here's my value for, there's my value for d right there. And so my x value, y'all, is the dx matrix, which we came up with 7, divided by the d matrix, which we came up with -3. And that's how I do this by hand, okay? I'll put another video on how to do it using your calculator.